Okay, brilliant. So, morning, everyone. Final day of apprenticeship week, and this is the first now of a regular set of Q&A apprenticeship sessions, webinar sessions I'm going to run, with an aim of giving opportunity for employers to get to know more about what apprenticeships can offer their business and get a real understanding of the value that they can bring. So hopefully each week there'll be an opportunity to meet with and talk to one of our apprentice employers and hopefully our apprentices. Today I'm joined by Ian Cole and Amy Cunyu from Davro Site Services. Amy's one of our apprentices working at Davro. You're going to hear from them and see a little video that Davro have put together about their apprenticeship program as a whole. So just without further ado, I'll just tell you a little bit about the Training Initiative's Future Leaders Accelerator Apprenticeships. So first off, what is an apprenticeship? So it's paid employment, an ability to work on the job, being paid as you train, and really the success of an apprenticeship comes from a marriage between us as a training provider and an employer that is interested in developing their staff. So the apprenticeship standards, whatever it is, focus on delivering the knowledge, skills, and behaviours necessary for success within whatever that particular role is. You'll hear a bit from Amy about her apprenticeship, which is business administrator. But whatever the apprenticeship is, the tutors work with the apprentice to ensure that they know they've got the correct knowledge, they know how to use and apply their skills in the workplace, and demonstrate the correct behaviours for communicating with other people within the business and making sure that their role is successful. So there's a great range of benefits that come with that. You know, the ability to have the sort of scaffolding and support of both the academic teaching and learning from us as a provider, but also the on-the-job development from the team that are around the apprentice. So their line manager, maybe they're working within an office setting with other individuals, so their development is supported from both sides throughout their apprenticeship. So again, you know, they're developing their skills, knowledge, and behaviour. They're using and applying that on the job, and at the end they come out with a nationally recognised qualification. And you know, I was talking about that kind of that marriage between the training provider and the employer. Throughout the length of an apprenticeship, it's really key that we're working together, and that's something that we make sure we do right from the start. So as soon as we're talking to an employer about the apprenticeship they want, we'll be discussing with them about what is business need, how is which is the correct apprenticeship really to meet that need, and then how can we support them, how will we implement the learning to fit with the running of the business and ensure that apprentice is supported throughout and has the right amount of on-the-job time and off-the-job time, so time where they can really develop, use the learning that they've taken from their tutor, and continue that with their own pieces of developing their portfolio of evidence of how they can implement that in the workplace. So the tutors tend to the way it works is the tutor will talk with the employer and the apprentice and put together a training plan that's specific for the role of the apprentice, and meets the standards, make sure that the particular standard, the particular learning outcomes are all met. And that can be really quite bespoke, because modules may be delivered at different times throughout the year or year and a half that the apprenticeship runs, really to fit in with when it's going to be most impactful for the business and align best with the role of the apprentice, the work they're going to be doing in their role. So roughly the process is an apprentice will join us. They'll do an initial assessment. We'll identify what their where their needs are, where they need most input. That will also be in discussion with the employer as well, because with each of those apprenticeships there are a set amount of learning outcomes, but there's also we take into consideration where perhaps there's specific areas of need or specific areas of focus that the employer wants to really focus on. And that initial assessment may also highlight where the apprentice themselves, the learner, has maybe gaps in their knowledge or needs some more focus. So they do the initial assessment, they move on to programme, and an apprenticeship typically, the minimum amount of time is 12 months, typically lasts somewhere between 12 months to 18 months, but they can go on. Some degree apprenticeships last for 4 years. There are others lasting 2 years. Each standard has its own set, but every apprenticeship is a minimum of 12 months. Once the apprentices completed their teaching and learning, and they've put together a portfolio of evidence demonstrating how they use and apply those skills, knowledge and behaviour for their set standard. They go through Gateway, so that's where we as the tutor has identified that the standards have been met, the learning outcomes have all been achieved, and they're recommended for endpoint assessment. They then go to the endpoint assessment is the assessing organisation is chosen by the employer. Usually we will recommend who we feel will be best for that, but the employer will choose who that is, and that they're completely separate from us as a training provider. So the assessment is all done independently, so that really the achievements, the attainment of that apprentice can be evaluated independent of us. And once that's completed and they've been assessed and passed off, they get certification upon completion, and that their apprenticeship standard, their qualification demonstrates their occupational competence within that area that they've done their apprenticeship in. So the endpoint assessment, it differs between the endpoint assessing organisation and the standard as well. So generally, it's looking at a portfolio of evidence that may well have been a project that the apprentice has been asked to do, which is assessed. They may have an interview, an exam sometimes, a practical assessment, a skills test. That's dependent on the standard. So what is the apprenticeship the apprentice is studying, but also what the endpoint assessing organisation stipulate. So benefits of an apprenticeship. I've talked really about that, but the key things, and I hope this is something that you'll see from what we'll hear from Ian and from Amy and the video of Davro, that an apprenticeship enables an individual to get some really focused training and development in the role that they've chosen. So they will have in the best case scenario, and with an employer such as Davro, an employer and a line manager who's fully behind supporting that individual to develop and upskill to be a really effective member of their team. And at the same time, a training provider, if they're lucky enough to have a training provider as good as the training initiative, then they'll have tutors who really work with the apprentice to make sure that as they're upskilling, as they're learning the skills and gaining the knowledge that's needed for that role, they're also being supported to demonstrate how do they use that in their role, how do they apply those skills within the role to be effective as part of that team, and grow within the business. So from a perspective of an employer, an apprenticeship gives probably the most cost-effective way of upskilling your staff to become the individuals that you really need within your business. And hopefully, if you're able to give the time and dedication, actually you can use apprenticeships to create a continual pathway of professional development for your whole staff team, taking people from new recruits, new into the office, learning the ropes, right up through into higher levels of management and beyond. So yeah, some of the outcomes: increased employee well-being, a sense of the sense of support that apprentices get from having that sort of scaffolding of input from both a training provider and their employer. Can increase employee retention, increase creativity and innovation, really help. There's a definite increase in job satisfaction, and I think a workforce that know that they're being invested in, that know they're getting that support, obviously are going to have a higher level of output, are going to be more successful within their role. So you can grow your talent in-house, you can future-proof your business, and one of the real big draws is that apprenticeships are 95% government funded. As an employer, you are just asked for 5% of the cost of that training. Once a company does have a pay bill of above 3 million, they then are actually expected to pay or mandated to pay a levy, which is 0.5% of their pay bill above that amount. But up until that point, if your pay bill is lower than 3 million, you just pay 5%. And there are schemes that support businesses to apply for levy transfer funds. So unspent levy funds that are with bigger companies can be transferred to smaller companies to help support their apprenticeship programs. So in some cases, the apprenticeship can be completely cost neutral for the employer. So yeah, we've just talked roughly about that. 5% of the training. So typically, if a business administrator apprenticeship, the cost of the employer is £250. The real cost comes from the time that they'll need to dedicate to upskill someone. Obviously, there's a difference there with bringing someone who's experienced in the role, but what they can guarantee is that at the end of the apprenticeship, they will have an individual with the right skills and knowledge and knowing how to effectively do it in the business in the way that the business requires. Minimum of 12 months, but that does depend on the type of apprenticeship you've got. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about some of our apprenticeships now. So our accelerator apprenticeships, we do focus around the internal business workings, and our flagship pathway program is really our leadership one, and here we've got business administrator, as Amy is on, for individuals who are just starting out with leading a team or supervising. We've got team leader that really focuses on managing people, supporting other staff, and the skill set that you need for that kind of those early management skills, helping people to move from becoming really good at, say, particularly their role, maybe a sales role, a marketing role, to really start to be able to be a manager of other people. So how do you move from being really good at that area of the job to be able to explain and lead people for them to be good at that job as well? And then moving on to a level 5 operations departmental manager. This is more like an 18-month to 2-year course that has a much higher level of focus on the more departmental or project-based management skills. Marketing apprenticeships. We have digital marketing assistant, digital marketer, content creator, marketing executive, and marketing manager. And each of those can link together. So we do have employers that look at progressing their staff through from digital marketer into a marketing executive and then onto marketing manager. IT and cybersecurity. So we have information communications technician that focuses more around the physical use of IT materials and technology. Cybersecurity technician, managing the cyber aspects. And actually, we have in-house, we have one of our apprentices is currently doing the cybersecurity. So I'm sure that once that one of these webinars, Dylan will join me and he'll talk a bit about how he's found it. And then again, there's that progression, that level 4 cybersecurity technologist that's available too. And that's really something that's really important to us, that you know, that idea of there being continual professional development is key. We want to make sure that we can provide a pathway for the apprentice to demonstrate that they've got progressions, and also for the business to see that actually they can maintain a steady pathway of progression for their staff and keep giving them opportunity to develop. We also deliver into the education sector, so upskilling teaching assistants, supporting individuals into becoming mentors, learning and skills mentors, or learning and skills teachers. And also we deliver adult social care apprenticeships too. So really, that's giving you a broad overview of what we do. A quick whistle stop tour of what an apprenticeship is. And I'm now gonna hand over. So actually, you can meet Ian and Amy and talk to them a little bit about, hear from them why they think apprenticeships are working for them, and then hopefully we can answer your questions at the end of that. So Ian has put together a great little video which I'm going to share, and then we'll hear from the man himself.
I'm on the business administration apprenticeship and I work in accounts. I found it extremely beneficial. I've learned quite a lot so far. It's only been a short space of time, but the tutor's been very helpful, very engaging. My apprenticeship has helped me develop better communication skills in the form of sort of emails and phone calls, as well as sort of allowing me to develop my already basic accounting knowledge further. They've been quite challenging to balance, but once I did, it was quite beneficial because I do sort of online courses that help me to sort of go hand in hand with my accounting. Probably the off the job, because it does just allow me to sort of learn different areas that we might not in the actual role. Yes. Yes, because it's brilliant.
Business administration. The apprenticeship has really helped the apprentices to improve their confidence and show more interest in learning new things and developing new skills to improve their work performance.
I'm doing the business admin apprenticeship and I'm in the transport department. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I've learned loads of new skills and gained loads of knowledge as well. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's helped me gain loads of new skills that I didn't think that I would sort of get to learn. Yeah, it's given me an insight of like transport, and yeah, it's really helped. Yeah, so I've managed to make time to fill in my journal and stuff with off the job activities, and while still obviously doing my day-to-day work. So yeah. No, as of yet, I've not found anything difficult really. It's sort of fitted in nicely with my job. Yeah, really enjoying it. I'd say the off the job activities that I'm doing, because obviously it's like sort of gaining new knowledge and new skills and stuff. So yeah, definitely that. Yeah, so my tutor's been really helpful with like, she's always there to sort of answer questions and she's very attentive and yeah, she's very helpful. Yeah, definitely. I think it's I think doing an apprenticeship's a good way of sort of starting from scratch and like starting your career as well, because it sort of, you get to start from the bottom and learn all the skills necessary and build up your career. So yeah, I definitely would recommend.
Right. Great. Excellent. Brill. Yeah. Great work on that video, Ian. Amy, I think congratulations should go to Max on what he's put together there.
Yeah, definitely. I think Amy's finally picked herself up off the floor with embarrassment.
I think you were going to put all of them in there.
Well done,
Especially
though,
at the
Amy.
end where I just went no.
I told you there'd be a surprise.
Well, I think you've done really well there, Amy. I suppose I just got one little question for you before we hear from you, Ian. And just a question for you, Amy. When you both apprentices mentioned that you really find that the off the job hours one of the most beneficial parts. So what sort of things are you doing with your off the job hours when you're having some time to devote to learning new skills, new things as part of your apprenticeship? What are typically the sorts of things that you use that time for?
Well, we have this online sort of course thing called Skillcast, where we got loads of sort of courses in like loads of different, like we've got online theft, money laundering, those sort of things. So we do those courses online, which is really helpful. A lot of the time I get Michelle, my manager, to sort of show me something new, something that honestly is going to progress me in it, but you know, anything really.
Okay, brilliant. So you sort of, you enjoy having the opportunity for you to choose how you use that time and where you can use that time and where it leads you.
Yeah, definitely. It's better, I think, for me to choose what I do to as the off the job than someone else. I think I obviously know what's going to benefit me more. So yeah.
It's great to hear. Actually, it's really good to hear that, Amy, because you know I think from my perspective, one of the things that I really one of the reasons why I champion apprenticeship so much is because it gives the opportunity for you, the learner, the apprentice, to really take full responsibility for learning and development. And if you can engage like clearly you do, then you're going to get the maximum benefit. If you can be going to your line manager and going to your tutor and saying, look, I want to learn more about this, I want to develop here, then clearly that's going to really benefit your learning at that point. But I'd also say that's going to set you up for a great career moving forward, because if that's what you're doing now while you're doing your business administrator, you know, where else will your thirst for learning and knowledge take you in your career?
Definitely.
So Ian, yeah, I mean, it'd be great to hear from your perspective a bit about how you kind of feel the impact of apprenticeships has gone, because I mean, we're sort of 12 months into a relationship between Davro and the training initiative, aren't we? And I know really early on, it wasn't a definite. It took some time for you to really identify that apprenticeships were going to be right, and to convince the rest of the business, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me personally, I think I share a similar thing as you know, Ben. I'm passionate about giving young people an opportunity and building talent within the business to help grow the business. We went through lots of, or guys on the call, you've probably all been there in terms of, you know, trying to employ people that have got 30 years experience and they know it better than you do, and you all know how some of those relationships end up. So I'm passionate about it, and when I joined the company about 4 years ago now, I was kind of trying to champion us getting in the apprenticeship, and I think for me personally, apprenticeships is a bit of a kind of like dirty word to some people. It's got a certain connotation to it that means something to someone. It means something that you're this kind of person if you do an apprenticeship. That may have been the case 10 years ago, but it certainly isn't now. So my toughest job was obviously the easiest part was building a relationship with you, Ben. I think we got on really well. You guys listened to what we needed, and I think we really worked well together. And then at board level, I'm a commercial director at Davlav, and I had to try and set it into to the other directors, and there was this kind of like stigma of it's going to take up loads of our time. We're not going to get the right caliber of person, so on and so forth. Finally, managed to pitch it to them, got on board, and we started slowly with one, and then we actually we put 3 existing staff on the team leadership program. And again, it's funny that you guys might experience this as well. So I won't name names in case Amy grasses me up, but one certain individual in particular thought he was almost a little bit arrogant of like, what can you teach me? I'm a salesperson, blah, blah, blah. You've probably guessed who it is now, Amy, haven't you?
Yeah. I certainly have.
So, basically he didn't really want to do the course, but he'd be the first person to admit now, having done it for 6 months, it has changed his life at work. He's gained the respect of all departments. He's one of the people everyone talks about. And we're in a company of like 75, 80 kind of staff. So everyone knows about him in a good way. And he's got a great career. So we did 3 team leaderships for existing staff. And that kind of like broke our cherry, if you like, in terms of getting us going. And then we took on 3 apprentices, of which Amy is one, of the kind of employed, job description was for an apprentice. So we've experienced it from both sides. So we've gone from nothing to having, I think we've got 6 apprentices running across the company. And if you asked any of the directors now, it'd be like cutting their arm off if we took the apprentices away. They've had such a great experience. You can see Amy and Leanne in the video. Just it's a pleasure to watch as a director, and being passionate about young blood is to see how they're growing, and that is thanks to the apprenticeship, definitely.
So yeah, I'm remembering one of those early conversations where you were talking about you had a need for recruitment, and you'd actually been finding that bringing in people with some experience wasn't working all the time. That sometimes you were finding individuals coming in going, no, I don't work that way, and wouldn't really buy into what you were asking. So bringing new individuals in, such as Amy, to learn and be able to really mold them into the employee that you want. Has that had the success that you were hoping?
Tenfold, yeah. That was the whole thing of like when I pitched this into the board. It was like, we want to train the Davlav way, and then so as Amy progresses through the company and will become a manager and so on and so forth, in 5 years' time, someone else will be sitting where Amy's sitting under Amy's wing. That's the plan. Not just to do this. This is something that will become ingrained. So much so, Ben, that I'm working on us having our own Davlav training centre, and so myself and another colleague are doing the awarding education and training course, so that we can become tutors ourselves. Because in our nature of business, the kind of white collar workers in the office, the courses are they're there in abundance. In terms of the yard guys, in terms of the unique skills they need around mechanics, electric stuff, we worked with the training initiative to be able to skill us to write the courses, and then we can offer that out locally to people that want to do it, not just to come to work for us, but to better their skill set. So yeah, we've gone from not wanting to do it at all to really really going for it. And I know we're no video production company. No, Steven Spielberg's not going to come knocking anytime soon, but you can get the feel of that, and that's going to go around the company, and you can see the buzz of that wasn't there a year ago.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, I think there's a real that video does demonstrate it's a real nice feel. It's clear that people are enjoying working at Davro, and as I was saying earlier on, I think that what apprenticeships can really do for any employer is really help to put that message out that you are investing in your staff, and that is clear that that. I think that's one of the things I admire about Davro on the Maxi Space and the DavLab side. It's clear that you have a vision that you want to invest in your workforce, and you recognise the benefits of that and what that will bring to the business as a whole in over time.
yeah, definitely.
So you've mentioned that construction apprenticeship. I mean, that is a project that we're really excited about as well. We together will be one of only 3 training providers, apprenticeship providers, providing that standard, that construction and installation standard. So it is. It's a really. It's an area as well that the modular building, which is what it's about, isn't it? It's about the putting together the assembly of modular buildings and disassembly of modular buildings. That's a really, definitely an area of future growth, big area of future growth in the construction industry. So
Definitely.
There's lots of potential there, definitely.
Yeah.
And from what I hear, Ian, you're smashing it as a trainee tutor as well.
Well, yeah, apparently so. I'm going to go and get myself a tweed jacket at the weekend and some glasses, and I'll be ready to go, I think.
Elbow pads. You need
That's the one, yeah. But no, it's all jokes aside. Yeah, it's going really well. I mean, again, I've learned just from doing it, obviously, the what's involved in putting the lessons together. It's given me a greater understanding of what the apprentices are going through. And it's going to give us the skill set to, like I say, grow the DavLab Training Academy into the future. So we want to create. I don't want to use the word like a conveyor belt, because that's not what this is about. But it's creating talent when it's right. We're not doing it for the sake of doing it. If the right person walks through the door, and we can see they've got the work ethic and they've got a desire to learn, like you can just see, Amy uses that confidence of wanting to learn, and she does, and she's highly thought of in the company in such a short space of time. So it's definitely working, definitely.
And Amy, could you see that there'd be a future for you? Would you look for another apprenticeship when you wanted to further yourself after completing this one? Is that something that you'd be interested in?
Yeah, definitely. Because I work in accounts at the moment, so anything that would sort of expand those skills as well would be helpful. I mean, Michelle's already said I'm having her office once she leaves. So I'm going to be. It's all right.
Yeah, definitely. But I think you get 2 different types of people. You get like with Amy, you can all see what Amy's like as a person, a character. She's intelligent. She wants to learn. With some of the other guys, they're not as confident to start with. Like, so one of the girls that we put on the team leadership course, she was nervous around it. She lacked that confidence. She's been doing that course for about 7-8 months now, and now she's gained from being quite a kind of like shy person that would just keep herself to herself, to now she is coordinating the yard, which is phenomenal. For any of you guys that can imagine, I'm stereotyping here, but the yard guys that are greasy fingered and dirt all over the place, they're not the easiest people to manage and motivate. And when it's tipping it down with rain, it's freezing cold, you've got mud up to your knees. That's the kind of environment she's working in, and she is smashing it.
That's great to hear. I mean, I know that Sarah is on the call. Are you still with us, Sarah?
I am, yeah.
So I know. Really, she's making sure that you don't say anything bad about Amy.
Well, I was just
Sarah,
about to say.
you also, because you deliver the team leader one, don't you, Sarah?
I do, yeah. So it's interesting what Ian's saying, because I can pinpoint the moments of all these feelings. So the one that just wasn't brought in at all, didn't understand the purpose of it, and I can see it as well, that he's actually engaged. He's almost enjoying it, I would say.
Yeah, don't. He would never tell anyone that. No. Yeah, but I know the same as you, Sarah. He's loving it.
Yeah.
And it's just really interesting to see to hear those two almost contradictory stories. You know, the two team leaders you talked about, because so that same standard with the same tutor working in the same business, they've addressed two and supported two different individuals to develop in different ways towards the same outcome. Just really interesting to hear that. One almost maybe overconfident, not really wanting to be supported, and then the other underconfident, and both of them are actually turning into really good people leaders and managers that are affecting the business positively.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, brilliant, superb. Well, I suppose at this point it's an opportunity maybe to open the floor. Are there any questions for anyone? Has anyone got a question for Ian or Amy?
Don't be shy.
I think we do have a shy audience. Well, Amy, you did in the video you were asked what's like the best part, the most of. I mean, what do you think? Do you feel that that an apprenticeship gives you? Is the bit of you were talking about, you learning, you're off the job learning, is that because the way the apprenticeship is, or have you always been that way? Have you always been someone that wants to learn and is motivated to do that?
I think I've always been quite motivated, especially when I was doing my A-level, because I wanted to get a good grade. I think the apprenticeship definitely helped me to obviously stride more towards that goal, which has been very helpful. Yeah.
And how does that impact the business, Ian? Is that problematic, giving the apprentices that time, that off the job time to dedicate to other learning?
Not. I'll be honest, I might not say this in front of Amy, but I'll be honest. So that was a worry, and that was a kind of like barrier at board level. A few people were like, it's too time consuming. People had experience in it 10 years ago, and they were trying to compare it to back then. And I was like, it's an investment. We're not doing this for cheap labour. We're not doing it for the fun of it. We're doing it because it's going to change the culture of the company. And I'd like to think that, yeah, it does take time, but when you balance it out in terms of seeing the talent coming through, it's like anything. It's a 5-year thing, you know. And Amy might not stay with the company for 5 years. I hope she does. I hope she stays for a long time. But it's that kind of like investment. So year 1 we're making a loss on it, if you like. Year 2 we're breaking even. But year 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we're going to make. You know, we're going to get it back in abundance, that investment. And that's looking at it with a pure commercial head on. You know, so sorry, my dog's barking in the background for some reason. Apologies.
Not at all. What's he called?
She, Luna.
Oh, right. Okay. So yeah. I mean, it's great to hear you talking about that, and because I think that's for any employer. You know, that when you're looking at bringing skills into the business, the return on investment is something you've got to look for, and apprenticeships are a really great cost-effective way of ensuring that you get really well-trained staff that can fit with the business and the business model you've got and the vision you've got for the future. But that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes you've got to bring in experienced staff. So it's an option, and it's an option that will work in a scenario such as you're saying, where with an employer such as yourself who want to invest and want to see that they're progressing their workforce, because you know, I do think sometimes there are employers that maybe see apprenticeships solely as a cheaper way of bringing people into the business, and that's not going to be a successful use of what an apprenticeship can really bring.
No, and I think if that's your outlook on it from the word go, you're going to be disappointed, because that's not. It's a two-way relationship, definitely.
Yeah. Hi, Susie. I see you got your hand up. You got a question?
I do. Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, well done, Amy. That it was great to see that, and Ian and the team. That film was really good. I've just got a quick question for Ian. Really, what would you say to employers who are worried about the off the job hours? I mean, Amy explained really well how you're using it there, but did you feel that that was a concern, and was that a sort of concern that you came up against with your board of directors?
Yeah, definitely to start with. But you have to accept that that's part, that's part of it. But it's not as bad as it kind of and you've got to do X, Y, and Z. He said she's finding the stuff to do. She's doing. We don't have to spend lots of time helping them. But what we do have to do is accept that for 1 day a week, or it's not physically 1 day, but 20% of whatever it is at the time, they won't be making money for the business. But that's what I'm trying to say, Susie. They might not be making money for the business right this minute, but when they get their skills and they flourish in the company, we'll be getting that back tenfold. And we already are, like with the examples of Dan and Ellie. Ellie's worth her weight in gold now. She's revolutionising the way the yard works. If you'd have asked the CEO of the company how much value he put on that, and if I could fix it for him like that, how much money he would give me to do that, it's a no-brainer. So yeah, don't get me wrong, you just have to get used to the fact that that's what it entails, but the benefit outweighs it. Does that answer your question?
It really does, and I think it probably answers a question to a lot of employers as well, so that's really great. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
Yeah, good, nice question. Thank you, Ian. So I feel like we've gone through quite a bit of this now, haven't we? Is there any other questions from our audience? Okay, brilliant. Well, I'll just take that this time to thank you again, Amy. Like you've
thank you,
spoken
Amy.
really eloquently. The video looks really good as well. This piece, and thank you to you as well, Ian. You've worked really hard to get this and done, and we do really value the relationship we have with Davro, and we know that we're going to be working together well into the future to help you grow as we grow together.
Definitely. No, good stuff. Pleasure to be involved.
Brilliant. I'm going to do this recording will be available on our YouTube channel, so I will send it out to all the guests from today, and I'll make sure you've got a copy as well, Ian, so that you can share it on your site.
Yeah, you can show all your friends, Amy, tonight.
Yeah. Got to make sure Michelle doesn't get it, otherwise that'll be everywhere.
That's it.
What we can. I'll certainly invite you to one of the future ones, and maybe we'll get one of the others to come alongside you as well.
Yeah, anytime. Yeah. Good stuff.
Awesome.
Right, then, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. All the best.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.